Om. 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 Sairam, just to recollect where we were last week. I guess most people are not here yet, but then we will start. I don't know how many will attend. Last week we discussed about, I think we didn't read that much, anything new. We are in chapter 8 of Sathya Sai Vahini, where Swami is telling about the Stula Sharira and Sukshma Sharira. He says the Stula Sharira, the gross body, is born again and again, just the way our nails are cut only to grow back. And the Sukshma Sharira stays on for a longer period of time. And I think we discussed about Jivan Muktas, whether they will come back and so on. And so I think what we discussed was that the Jivan Muktas go to the Surya Loka. I don't know whether we remember, it's from the Gita Vahini. The Jivan Muktas go to the Surya Loka after they drop the body, from which they do not come back. They move on to Brahma Loka. That's what the Gita Vahini says. All those who are not Jivan Muktas will go to Chandra Loka and come back and born again. So that's what we discussed. I think that was one of the things which we discussed. Then we also discussed how do we get over the body identification and the mind identification and learn how to identify with Atman. We discussed about developing Vairagya and overcoming the control of the mind and becoming the master of the mind. I think those were some of the discussion points. I think we will continue from where we left off. Sairam, Kalyani, we can continue.
Bondage. A person can discard as many gross bodies in which he takes temporary residence as the number of times he pares his nails, but the subtle body cannot be changed. It lasts and persists. This is the most secret doctrine of Bharatiya spiritual thought. Going further along this line of discovery, it can be revealed that man means a complex of the gross body, the subtle body, and the jivi, the individual. The Vedantic philosophy would declare that the jivi shares the quality of eternal, unchanging everlastingness, nitya. Prakriti, or the objective world, is also eternal, but with a difference. It undergoes perpetual change. It is never the same, but it persists forever. The basis for the objective world, namely prana, the life force, and akasha, space or ether, are eternal, but they act and interact without rest and manifest variously and manifoldly.
Thank you very much, Kalyani. I think we read the Telugu last time, I guess. So I don't think we may need to read. Anyone would like to discuss any of the points from what we read? We can discuss. If not, we can move forward. So I will open it up for anyone to suggest. So I guess, why don't we move on, Kalyani? Yes, thank you.
The individual Atma, the Jivatma, did not have its origin in either Akasha or Prana. It is not material in nature, so it is eternal, without any change. It did not happen through the impact of Prana on Akasha or Akasha on Prana. Things brought together will disintegrate, but things that are themselves ab initio cannot so come apart. For disintegration means resuming the original nature, becoming what it originally was. reducing itself to its native substance. The gross body is a result of the combination of prana and akasha, and so it dissolves itself into its components. The subtle body too dissolves, but only after a long, long time. The jivi is not brought together, so it cannot fall apart. It has no birth. It cannot be born. A unitive, partless being can have no moment of origin.
Thank you, Kalyani. I think with Manyanti being away today, I will read. If anyone would volunteer to translate, I would welcome. If not, then I will have to do both. Jivatma matramu ఆకాశములో కాని ప్రాణములో కాని నిర్మింపబడినది కాదు. The
Read
Jiva.
Telugu if you want, brother.
Pardon? Can you translate, brother Prasad?
I can read Telugu if you want. You can translate.
You have the Telugu?
Yeah, I have.
Okay, please go read, brother, then.
జీవాత్మ మాత్రము ఆకాశములో కానీ ప్రాణములో కానీ నిర్మింపబడినది కాదు.
The Jivatma is not something which is made up of prana or akasha, that is ether or the life force.
అది భౌతిక వస్తువే కాదు. కావున శాశ్వతము.
That is not something of a physical nature. It is eternal.
అది ప్రాణాకాశ సంయోగము వలన కలిగినది కాదు.
That is not something which has come about by the combining of the prana and akasha, that is the life force and the ether.
ఆ సంయుక్త పదార్థమునకు నాశము ఉండజాలదు.
Something which is not made by the combination of two substances will not have destruction.
ఏలైన నాశము అనగా మూల వస్తువులుగా నిలిచిపోవుటే.
Why it is so is nasham means, that is destruction means going back to the original state.
స్థూల శరీరము ప్రాణాకాశ సంయోగము కావున దానికి వియోగము తప్పదు.
Because the gross body is made because of the union of prana, life force, and the ether, akasha. Due to that, it will not be able to escape destruction or removal, disuniting.
అట్లే సూక్ష్మ శరీరము కూడా వియోగము నందును కానీ అది దీర్ఘకాలాంతరము.
Even the subtle body also will be destroyed. It will be removed. It will go back to its original state, but it will take a longer duration.
జీవుడు ఆ సంయుక్త వస్తువు కనుక దానికి నాశము అనగా వియోగము ఉండదు.
Because the jiva is not something which is made up of a combination of two things, it will not have destruction, nor it will not have a disintegration.
అటులనే దానికి పుట్టిక కూడాను ఉండదు.
In the same way, it will not have birth.
ఉండనేరదు.
It cannot be born.
ఆ సంయుక్త వస్తువు పుట్టుటే అసంభవము.
It's that matter or that jiva which is not made up of two things, it will never, birth cannot take place. I think that's all, brother. I think that's all we have read in English.
Okay. Yeah.
So Swami has nicely explained what the difference between Jivatma and the mind and the body. The body and mind are made up of the life force and the ether acting on each other or joining together to make them. Whereas the Jiva is not made up of anything coming together. It is not made up of prana or akasha. Because it is not made up of two substances coming together, there is nothing called disintegration for it. So it will never be born. It is not born. And because of that, it does not have any destruction. So Swami is explaining about the Atman or Jivatma. So I'll stop here if anyone would like to discuss any of the points. And, we have someone joining from Prashant Nilayam. Brother Prasad is calling from Prashant Nilayam and India and talking to us. Thank you, brother.
Sairam brother, what is the Telugu translation for unity partless being can have no moment of origin?
So the Telugu part, brother, is
Telugu words, yeah.
Asamyukta Vastuvu. That means Vastuvu means some matter, which is Asamyukta. That means it is not made up of a combination of things coming together. Because it's not like that. Puttute, that is to be born, is Asambhavamu. That means it will not happen.
Yeah.
So the birth happens only when two things come together to make something. That means something which is, it's a change, some change of its original state. When two things work on each other, coming together, then that can disintegrate. When two things don't come together, that something is not born because it's in its natural state. There's nothing to mix with or something of that sort. So that's why the translation unitive partless being. That means it's only one. It does not have parts which have come together. Because of that, it cannot have birth.
Yeah, that's what. Yeah, English is better. I don't know.
I understand.
Yeah.
So asambhava means it cannot happen.
Yeah.
Puttute asambhava means birth cannot happen
Okay.
because that thing is not something which is made up of two things coming together.
Yeah.
Okay, asamyukta vastuvu means something which is not made up of two, three things will never be born. Puttute, to be born is asambhavami, is not possible. Okay, I know the English is a bit more difficult than the Telugu.
Okay, thank you.
That's a unity means it's one.
Yeah.
Parts mean it's not made up of parts. Because of that, it cannot have origin. It's not born. So
Yeah.
that's
Thank you.
So Swami is trying to explain to us the principle of Atman, why it is different from Sthula and Sukshma.
So what really differentiates the Jivatma then from the Paramatma?
What differentiates?
The Jivatma from the
So anyone who would like to, I think based on whatever we have discussed, if anyone would like to share why you think, what is the difference between Jivatma and the Paramatma?
Sairam brother, just last time I was thinking there is a confusion among the participants. What is Paramatman and Atman and the terminology that is used in these philosophical books now.
Yes.
So invariably both same. So the both are used in the same connotation mostly, but in particularly we particularly we say when the Atman is in a person, inside a person, or in a person, in an individual, at that time we call it Atman. When it is everywhere, we call it Paramatman or Parabrahman. But the words are used interchangingly everywhere. So even Kalyani, I noted that because he has a Jivatman and Atman, the Atman means even here in the last sentence, it is a unity partless being. So both are same actually. But when it is in body, we call it Atman generally. And when it is everywhere, we call it Paramatma. That's what I can say. Thank you.
Thank you very much, brother. Yes, Aunt Sakku, you would like to say anything?
Yeah. Jivatma, when Jivatma, until Jivatma realizes it is not the body, it is the part of the Parabrahman, it is Jivatma. Once he realizes, I am not the body, I am part of Atma, Paramatma, Then we call it as Atma. And Paramatma is the origin of all creation. And Atma, when it removes all its impurity and becomes complete, then it is it is liable to be part of Paramatma. Thank you.
Thank you, Auntie.
Sai Ram, is that Jivatma is above all? Jivatma is consists of elements, and Paramatma is beyond everything.
So I think it's a question, I think. Yes, or, so
It is a question. It is a
okay,
question.
thank you, thank you. I think I saw another hand go up, but sister, is it Sister Aruna? It is Arun's.
Sai Ram, brother.
Yes.
It's a Jivatma has no duality. So once it's realized, it's a the Paramatma, I and you are one kind of. Then it's merge onto Paramatma, become one. In Jivatma, you feel the duality. The Lord is different from like your spark of divine kind of. You feel. The Atma is the one on reside in everybody. But when its Atma is with the body and mind, then I think that is Jivatma. Once it's comes out of the duality, it's a Paramatma.
Okay, thank you, sister. Anyone else would like to share your thoughts, please? So, Kalyani, I think I will also complement what has already been stated. There are a couple of analogies given in by Swami in various discourses. One is like in this vast world, there is air everywhere. We take a balloon and blow some air into it, and that's also flying out in the space, in the sky. There's air inside the balloon. There's air outside the balloon. So the air inside the balloon is Jivatma. The air outside is generally called Paramatma. So that's Jivatma, Paramatma is only something where we differentiate the individual air in the balloon to compare to the air all over the world. So the idea is, but if you look at it another way, it's air inside, air outside, but it seems to be covered by the balloon. Okay. But when the balloon bursts, there's only air. There's no air inside, there's no air outside. So even the distinction between Jivatma and Paramatma exists. And in that sense, it's just Atman. It's generally, that's one explanation. There's another explanation. If you have a sun and if you have multiple lamps or pots with water, you see the reflection of the sun in the pot of water. It is the same sun reflecting in the pot. So there's also this description in Vedanta, the sun's reflection in the pot is Jivatma. Because the sun's reflection in the pot does not exist except for the sun out there. So as long as the pot is there and the water is there, that is the body is the pot, the water is the mind, the sun's reflection in it looks as if there's a specific sun inside the pot. That is Jivatma. It is nothing but a reflection of the one sun. Okay, but we think there is a sun inside the pot. So the thing is, Vedantins will say it's only one sun. It is just reflecting in the pot with water. So the thing is, that is what is the Atman sun which is reflected in the pot water, that sun in the reflection of the sun is Jivatma. So it doesn't even exist separately. it is just a reflection of the one sun, which is the Atman. So that is another description. So that's why Jivatma itself. So when we go to the Sushupti state or whatever, the Atman, we at least see that only the reflection in the pot, the sun. But then comes the stage where we think, oh, it's a reflection, there's only one sun. Then at that point in time, people will not pay attention to the individual reflection, also will not think that it is something separate. So that's, there's a two explanations given to what is Atman, Jivatman and the Paramatman. These two are examples which are described, and Swami has also mentioned in many discourses. And Swami says the Aditya, the word Aditya itself, basically it's a reflection of that one sun in the pot of body and the mind, which is the water in every person. So I will stop there. I hope, I don't know if it's further confused. Yes,
Brother, there is a confusion. It's a
Yes.
reflection of a spark. We say spark, right? It's a part. Now you're saying it's a reflection. So something is there. Something is different there. You know what it is? I'm trying to understand. Thank you, Saira.
Yes, sister, I will just clarify. See, how do you see the sun in the pot? Because of the rays of the sun falling into the water. The spark is the ray of the sun falling on the water in the pot.
Okay, I got it. Okay, so it's a spark. Okay, thanks.
That's the spark.
Sorry.
Sai Brother Dasan.
Yeah, Sairam, brother. I like the explanation about balloon. So the Paramatma and the Jivatma, the inside the balloon is same. There's no different. It's covered with delusion and the Maya and karma. Once you come out, then you are merging with that one. That means inside the balloon and outside is same. Thank you, Brother Sairam.
Thank you, brother. Yeah, so the analogies have to be multiple to understand, because we can't, a single analogy cannot explain that phenomena. Thank you very much, brother Saira. Anyone else would like to share any thoughts, please?
So is it almost like then that the Jivatma doesn't really exist? Because only the Paramatma is what's really there, but the Jivatma is just like a reflection of that.
Jivatma exists, but what we think Jivatma doesn't exist. What we delude, that limitation which we impose on the Atman doesn't exist, because that's called Maya. That's just a perception. That's what the Vedanta, that's the Vedanta concept. That's why Swami will say, you are one. I am I, I am I. But that's a small little I suddenly realizing that I don't exist, only the big I exists. Yeah, that's the whole spiritual journey. That's what I understand. That's merging our perception into that thing. Until our perception is deluded into thinking that we are separate, the duality exists. Sairam, I hope. So that's what Swami is saying. We are not made up of two things. So anyone else? Everyone is silent. I think I'm just making noise. Yes, Brother Sivadas, please go ahead.
Brother, please don't misunderstand. Because we have to complete chapter 8 and chapter 9. So you will understand because we are in chapter 8 and we are incomplete actually. So what you said in the analogy of reflection of one sun is applicable to the Advaitic part, which is dealt in the latter part of chapter 9. So the first part of chapter 9 speaks about the qualified monism, that is the Visiddha partner. So for now, we are currently in the dualistic section actually. So everybody has to wait until we complete chapter 9.
You're right, brother. Yeah, I understand. We are even the next two paragraphs, I think, are dual. The Dvaita only Swami is discussing now.
Yeah.
I understand. I myself skipped and went because the questions are coming that way. Maybe I should have told everyone to wait.
Yeah, and also you know, but I would like that analogy of that Kudahasa, Madahasa, and Mahasa. No?
Yes.
So better than the air in the balloon and outside, because air can move here and there. No? But in the Kudahasa, Madahasa, Mahasa aspect, the space is everywhere, no changing, no moving. So it is one indivisible whole. So that space occupies a pot and called Kudahasa. And when occupies a room or a house, we call Madahasa. So when the outside is Mahasa. So that the Kudahasam, the space inside the pot and the space outside the pot is one and the same. There's no moving, one whole unity, partless being. So, so that when we say the reflection story, then something we have to read, read more.
So the reason I gave these analogies
Yeah.
because I did not want to give the Gudakasha analogy.
Yeah, I understand, yeah.
Okay, so I think Swami will take us there.
Yeah.
The analogies which I gave talks only about duality because there is some separation, there is some individualization.
Mm-hmm.
So these are also analogies given, but Swami's analogy I have not touched.
Yeah.
Okay, which Swami is going to give.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, Sairam. The analogies which I gave relates to the duality only at this point in time.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, sir. Yes, Sister Maha.
Sairam, brother, sorry I joined late. Still I have the doubt, the gross body, after that it changed to subtle body, right? So I want to know still, it goes back to gross body or just after subtle body it merged into Paramatma?
Okay, thank you, Sister, for the question. Anyone would like to answer Sister Maha's question?
I asked this one before, but it wasn't get answered. So.
Yes, thank you, Sister. So Sister is asking, will the gross body become subtle body and then the subtle body merges? That's the question.
It goes back to gross body again, and until it get resolve his bad karma, so it's going back and forth, and finally it merged into dharma.
Thank you very much, Sister. Brother Sivadas.
Yeah. Actually, I felt because I listened to the recording that you updated. So the Sister Maha had that question unanswered actually.
Okay.
Yeah, and so you explained it very nicely. Brother explained it very nicely, the whole everything. Because, okay, when a person attains liberation, so to say, we are in the physical body, but we lose contact with the physical body. That is, we don't feel the body consciousness. The jnani will not feel the body consciousness as well as the mental consciousness or gross aspect and subtle aspect. He will be unconscious about that, not conscious. But he attained the liberation. So attained the liberation, he is freed now. So it is how a jnani attains liberation, because while living, while in the body, he lost contact with the physical body and contact with the subtle body, but lives in atmic state and drops both body together. Is in the ultimate. But the wording here might confuse people. Oh, at one point of time, we have to drop the gross body here, then go and live in the subtle body, and while living in the subtle body, drop that subtle body and get the final destination. So that is a confusion now. So it could be both ways, but as far as what we discussed, what brother explained and the text explained, it cannot be. I am not sure about it. It cannot be. We are living in subtle body for a period of time and then drop it. So better brother, you explain more about it.
Yes, okay. Yes, Sister Aruna, you have the explanation?
Yes, brother. Just with my understanding, I have a little bit.
Yes,
Yeah.
go ahead.
No, you have to transcend both. Okay. And you have to come to the bliss, the 5 stage, like Annamaya Kosha, Annamaya Kosha, Pranamaya Kosha, Jnanamaya Kosha, bliss was the last one. And with the law, with the God grace only, you can merge. That's how we have studied. That's I just wanted to say.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Sai.
Anyone else would like to share your thoughts, please? Yes, Santi Saku, please go ahead.
We studied last week and today that the gross body, because it will drop when one birth.
நடுவுல நல்லா மாட்டி கார் எடுத்து வரக்குள்ள போதும்.
Saira.
Yeah, okay, she has muted.
Okay. The gross body, when the time comes up at the time of the birth, at death, it will drop and merge with the 5 elements, the gross body. The subtle body will stay longer, little longer, until such time it has got the time to drop. So it is not going to drop like gross body will merge back to the subtle body. No. Once the gross body drops, the subtle body will leave the gross body and it will stay a little longer. Don't know how long. It depends on where it may vary. And when it drops only, then the Atma will get to merge with the Paramatma. This is what we learned. And even today it says it stays a little longer than the gross body.
Thank you, Auntie. Thank you. Anyone else would like to share any thoughts, please? So I will use the analogy which Swami has given, which is the nail. As long as we are alive, nail will grow regularly, and maybe we cut the nail once a week or once in 2 weeks. So you can imagine the number of times our nails are cut while we are alive. Swami equates the nail to this gross body. So as long as we are alive, the gross body has to be dropped so many thousands of times. And the day we die, the nail also does not grow. So the understanding is, I think with Gita Vahini we have studied, what Swami says is, a person who has not, still the mind attachment of the mind exists, when the gross body becomes useless, that gross body drops and that person goes to what's called Chandraloka, the lunar world. And then they will come back again and acquire again another physical body, and life continues. So until a person reaches a maturity and detaches themselves completely with the mind, the person will be reborn again and again after going to Chandraloka and coming back, or Pitraloka and coming back. When the person reaches a level of maturity where that person has detached themselves from the mind, that means there are no more desires, no more vasanas left, and they are not clinging to the person, Atman. At that point in time, that person becomes Jivan Mukta. That means the person is fully detached to the body as well as the mind, because the mind has lost all its vasanas. Then a person becomes Jivan Mukta. And when that person drops the body, he is also dropping the mind at that time, Sukshma Deha also. And then he travels to what's called Surya Loka. He will go and the Swami will say that's the Uttarayana. This Gita, I think chapter 17, 18 or something like that, if I remember. So the person takes the Archirati path. That's what Swami says in the Gita, Vahini. So he takes the solar path and he will go to the solar world. There he will spend some time until God graces him with an Upadesha, and then he will move on to Brahma Loka. So the person Jivan Mukta is the one who has ripened and who has detached himself with the mind and the vasanas which may be clinging to that. So this whole idea is we will be born again and again until we develop detachment to the mind and the attachments and the vasanas. And that is possible only in the human form. In Chandraloka, you cannot do that work. For that work, you have to come back again. And while being alive with the body and the mind, we have to attain that state, and that is a Jivan Mukta state. All sadhana is supposed to be for that purpose. So when the Atma is the one which merges, the subtle body does not merge. The subtle body has to be dropped through developing what's called Vairagya, or at detachment, complete detachment one should get, and through that one gets jnana. And once gets jnana, that person, when the body drops, the mind also drops, and that person travels to the Surya Loka. This is a Gita Vahini explanation, which Swami is also, means I think Swami is not going into too many details here. So that's why the Sukshma Sarira, the subtle body, persists over multiple births, because it's very difficult to shake off the subtle body, and all sadhana is to shake off that subtle body. And when we die, before we die, so we become Jivan Mukta, and then when we die, both are dropped, and that person goes, and he's a candidate for merger, but the merger is in the hands of God. But he will not be coming back to earth. And that's what we studied in the Gita Vahini. When Swami explained Uttarayana, Archiradipat, Chandraloka, Suryaloka. You can go and refer to that. I think we discussed, whoever was around for Gita Vahini hopefully remembers this discussion. Saira, I will stop here.
Sorry, the Jivan Mukta, its subtle body?
Jivan Mukta is living, but is detached, completely detached, does not identify with the mind, does not identify with the body. Even though the body and mind may be functioning, the person is not identify with them, and he is in completely a state of Atman, in Atmanubhava.
But that is not subtle body. This is
Subtle body is the mind, sister.
mindset. Okay, I got it now. Thank you very much, brother, for explaining. Thank you.
Yes, Brother Tasa.
Yes, Sairam, brother. If I want to put it in a nutshell, the subtle body, no, I'm sorry, cross body made out with 5 elements. So after the death, that the subtle body continues with the karma and the impulses. Thank you, brother.
So, brothers, the subtle body is also made of the 5 elements of a subtle nature.
But after the death, brother, there won't be any 5 elements, yeah?
No, they are there. You are traveling with that only.
Right.
In Chandraloka, but they are in subtle form. Your subtle body is also made up of the 5 subtle elements. So Swami has already explained prana and akasha in a subtle form constitutes the subtle body. That's what Swami explained to us in chapter 7. So prana and akasha make up the gross body. In a subtle form, they make the subtle body. Where a jivatma is not made up of these two. So the thing is, brother, the subtle body is also made up of the elements only. Akasha is that means it's one of the elements.
Yeah.
Okay, so the subtle body is also made up of the 5 elements because it's a different manifestation of the. I think we had to read there are other Vahinis which where Swami is talking about what is the subtle form of the 5 elements, brother. Okay, so both these are made up of subtle elements, both Stula and Sukshma. Okay, so I am basically repeating what Swami explained in the previous chapter because the subtle body and the gross body both are made up of a combination of prana and akasha. And Swami says the gross body, the prana functions as speech, sitting, standing, in all activities. And in the subtle body, the subtle akasha, the subtle prana functions as thought. Okay, so this was explained in the previous chapter.
Good, thank you.
I hope I am referring correctly. If I'm others who have been part.
Yeah, thank you. Very good.
Thank you. Okay, I think Swami wants us to know who we are so that we can free ourselves. So I think that's the whole idea Swami is teaching us to understand that we, the Jiva, cannot be born, we don't die because we are not made up of prana or akasha. The real we, hopefully we understand that. So if there's no other questions or discussion, we can move. Because Swami is continuing to explain this further.
The objective world or Prakriti, consisting of billions and billions of varied forces, things, and events, is governed by the will of God. God is all-knowing, all-penetrating, all-pervading. He is activating Prakriti and acting through Prakriti all the time. Prakriti is ever in His care. His sovereignty is beginningless and endless. This is the doctrine of the dualists, the Dvaitins. This gives room for one question. When the world is ruled by God, how does He permit it to be so wicked and vile? The answer given is that God is not responsible for the grief and the pain. The sins we commit are the progenitors of the grief we suffer. Joy and sorrow are the consequences of the good and the evil that man perpetrates. God is a witness. He does not punish, nor does He cause grief. The jivi is beginningless, that is to say, he has no birth, but he involves himself in incessant activity, and so he has to go through the inevitable consequences of that activity. This is the experience of everyone, the characteristic of everyone's mind. This is the unbreakable law of the objective world or prakriti. Grief or joy is the image of the activity one engages in. It is the resound, the reflection, the reaction. The jivi can be the witness without concerning himself with the good and the bad of the activity. When involvement happens, good will have to be experienced when good is done, and evil will have to be experienced when evil is done.
Thank you very much, Kalyani. I think Brother Prasad is missing. I think he's liberated himself. He's not here. Sanjay, will you translate, Sanjay? I don't know how to put you on the spot.
I could try. I don't know, but I think I might make a mess. I think why don't you read and translate? It might. I think it'll be all right.
Okay. Okay, thanks. You can attempt, but so I will leave it to you. I will read, let's see. Lakshopa Lakshaluga కూడియుండు ప్రకృతి అంతయు ఈశ్వరేచ్ఛాధీనమై ఉండును. Swami is saying, all the millions and millions which is combined as nature, all this conglomeration of millions of things are under the control of the Ishvara's will. Okay, the Lord's will. Ishvarudu Sarvajnudu, God is all-knowing. Sarvagatudu Unai, he becomes the one who has gone into everything. Ratri Pagalu, morning, night and day, Prakriti Dwara, through the nature, Pani Cheyichunnadu. He is working through all of them. So, Sai Satya Sai, so he's that what it says is the Lord who is all-knowing has pervaded everything, and day and night he is working, doing his work through the nature. Sai Satish, will you translate, please?
Sai Ramana, sorry. Yeah.
Will you translate hereafter?
Okay, and yeah, sure.
Prakriti antayu atani paripalanalone unnadi.
The entire creation is under his protection or
Yeah, his rulership also you can
rulership.
say.
Yeah, yes, Anna.
Atani prabhutvamu adyanta-rahitamu. Atani prabhutvam, his lordship.
Okay.
His lordship is adyanta-rahitam.
It is beyond Adi Ananta.
Exactly. It's beyond beginning and end.
Yeah, yes, Anna.
Okay, it is beginningless or endless. Ide Dvaitula Siddhantamu.
This is the doctrine of the of the people who are dualistic.
ఈ సిద్ధాంతమున ఒక ప్రశ్నకు అవకాశము కలదు.
For this doctrine, there is a avakasham kaladu.
There's a chance for a question. There's chance for somebody asking a question. ఈ లోకములో ఈశ్వరుడే పరిపాలకుడైనచో,
in this world, everything that is under the lordship of Ishvara,
అతడిట్టి దుష్ట ప్రపంచమును ఎలా సృష్టించెను?
How come has he created such a bad world?
ఈ దుఃఖములకు వ్యథలకు ఈశ్వరుడు బాధ్యుడు కాదని వారు సమాధానము చెప్పుదురు. ఈ దుఃఖములకు వ్యథలకు,
yeah, for this sadness and difficulties, Anna,
you can say difficulties.
For this sadness and difficulties, Ishvara is the cause.
No, బాధ్యుడు కాడని.
Oh yeah, he Ishvara is not the reason for this.
Yeah.
Is what they say, Anna?
Yeah, they give that as the answer. They say the Dvaitin, so dualists give the answer that for these God is not responsible. Okay,
Yes.
for this pain or suffering, God is not responsible. మన వ్యథలకు మనము ఆచరించు పాపములే కారణమనియు,
for our difficulties, it is our own sin that is the reason.
సుఖ దుఃఖములకు తాను చేయు మంచి చెడ్డ కర్మలే కారణమని చెప్పుదురు.
For happiness and sadness, it is our own good and bad that we do is what they say.
ఈశ్వరుడు సాక్షిభూతుడు.
God is a witness.
తాను బాధించుట కాని సృష్టించుట కాని చేయడు.
He is not the one who punishes or inflicts harm.
జీవుడు అనాది సిద్ధుడు అజుడు.
Anadi, sorry, Anna, I don't know this. Anadi Siddhudu, I don't know.
Means he is eternally, eternally present. And his ajudu is not born. Okay. అనగా పుట్టుక లేనివాడు.
That means he is one who does not have birth.
కాలమంతయు అతడు సర్వవిధ కర్మము లోనర్చుచున్నాడు.
Eternally, he is undertaking action.
Yes.
Yeah.
కర్మ ఫలము అంతయు అనుభవించుట మన మనసు యొక్క అనుభూతి.
It is the experience of the mind to enjoy the fruits of the actions.
అది ప్రకృతి యొక్క విశ్వశాసనము.
That is the law of nature.
విశ్వశాసనము. Universal.
Universal law, na?
Yeah. అది ప్రకృతి యొక్క విశ్వశాసనము. అది కర్మ యొక్క ప్రతిబింబము.
That is the reflection of the very action done.
ప్రతి శబ్దము.
It is the resound.
మంచిది చేసిన మంచిది, చెడ్డ చేసిన చెడ్డను.
For the good that is done, good is received, and for the bad that is done, bad is received.
అనుభవించుట మనో ఇంద్రియముల కర్తవ్యము.
It is the duty for the mind and the indriyas to experience that.
జీవునకు రెండుంటితోనూ సంబంధము లేక,
for the jiva, there is no relationship between the two.
సాక్షిభూతుడై ఉండును.
To eternally to stay as a witness.
Okay, thank you. So I will stop here.
Sorry, just
yes.
the last line. So that for the jiva, there's no relationship between the two.
I think yes.
That's sukha and dukkha, or
yes.
And then what's the last part say?
I don't know whether in the English in the next line. I think it doesn't translate it. So I will again read it. The last two sentences. So the duty of every experiencing the good for good and bad for bad is the duty of the mind and the indriyas. The jiva has no relationship with both. That is good and bad, or the experiences there are. He is only a witness. He remains only a witness.
Okay.
Okay. So I will stop here. Yes, Santisaku. Santisaku, you had to unmute and speak.
I need some clarification. There's a sentence that God is activating Prakriti and acting through Prakriti. That is one sentence. And then he says that he is only a witness. Could you explain this?
Okay. Anyone who would like to describe this? I think aunties ask. Yes, Brother Dasan, please go ahead.
Byram brother, the best example is the two birds. One bird is eating the fruit, other one's just watching. So whatever we are doing, it is not affected by the Jivatma. Jivatma is only a witness. That is my understanding, brother.
Yeah, okay, brother. Thank you. But Sakku aunty is asking Swami's the first paragraphs. The Lakshopa Lakshaluga Kudiyundu Prakriti Antayu Ishvare Chadinama Yunduno. So it is because of the will of it's all this world is under the control, under the rulership of the Ishvara and his will. That's the first one. I think in English it says the objective world of Prakriti consisting of billions of various
Activating and acting.
is governed by the will of God. I think that's the first thing auntie is asking. Then Swami is also saying Ishvarudu Sarvajnudu Sarvagatudunai Ratri Bhagalu Prakriti Dwara Pani Cheyichunnadu. So that means he is working through nature, though he is all knowing and all pervading. So auntie is trying to understand this sentence with the last sentence which says he's a witness. So if he's a witness, how is he acting through all this? Auntie is unable to reconcile this two. Okay, auntie?
Yes, thank you.
So auntie is saying if he's a witness, then how is he acting? If he's acting, how can he be witness?
No, witness mean if you say something you are doing wrong, and he's the witness. So suppose if you do bad karmas or anything, you are the one, your mind, your indriyas going to experience the consequence. And he's only the witness, he's not affected. The Jivatma is not affected. Only you are affected. Even though the Prakriti was created, control everything, but any action, that means there is if you do anything, there is a resound, reflection, and one more thing, reaction is there. So nothing to do with the Lord. Thank you, brother.
Thank you very much, brother. See, auntie is asking the question which Swami himself has stated, brother. If he's a witness, but he's the one who is the cause of action, how can he be? If there's a crime being committed, there's one who is committing the crime, and then there's a witness. So they're saying so in Dvaita, see, all this is because of the Dvaita philosophy, dualist philosophy. If God is the one who has, without his will, nothing will happen, then how can he wash his hands of the problem? Okay, I think that is the question which Swami is already posing. This gives room for one question. When the world is ruled by God, how does he permit it to be so wicked and vile? Swami is asked that in the second paragraph. The same question Sakwanti is asking. And then Swami is also telling the response given by the dualists. The dualists say, oh, yes, God is controlling, but he did not, he is not experiencing it.
He's just a witness.
So there is some problem in reconciling that information, and that's a suspense issue which Sakwanti has. Anyone who would like to answer this?
Yes,
one more thing. If you face the accident, two parties involved, there's a witness too. So the party who were involved with the accident, they are the one facing the consequence. The witness person is the one going to tell the truth, and he's not going to be affected. Thank you, brother.
Yeah, the problem, brother, the parties who are involved in the accident are also parties only because of the witness. Witness is the one who is working through the parties.
Thank you, Arno.
Yes. Sister Maha, please.
I don't know, brother, this is the right answer. When God created the world, so God's sankalpa is if you are doing bad things, you will suffer. If you are doing good things, you will merge into God. Then after that, he is not going to involve anything, whether the people are doing bad or good. So he is going to love always the Jivatma. But that is our responsibility, whether, discriminate whether we can do bad things or good things. Because of our desire, we are doing bad things. That's what I understood about this one.
Thank you very much, sister. Anyone else would like to answer Auntie Saku's question?
Sairam brother, the witness part is coming at the end of the paragraph, correct? That is related to the GV, correct?
Yes.
Yeah, but the first paragraph says activating and acting.
Yeah, that is okay. Now, for example, Baba used to give is the electric current. So electric current can do both bad and good. The current is unaffected. Current make a good thing. Somebody in the light, somebody can, Baba said, write a petition, and somebody can read Bhagavad Gita. But electricity, it doesn't. It is not part of the good and bad of its energy. So God or Lord Ishvara is acting through Prakriti, activating Prakriti and acting through Prakriti. But the result, the electric current, is not part of good work and bad work. But in the last paragraph, witness part is Bhavan saying the GV can be the witness. That is unrelated to that. So the
God is the witness.
GV can be, not God. GV can be the witness without concerning himself with the good and the bad of the activity. And Baba says it is grief or joy is the image of the activity one engages in. It's an image of the activity. It is a resound and reflection and reaction. So if we try, we can be away from this activity. The GV can be the witness. They put the can also in the italic because the GV, if the GV tries, he can be away from grief and joy. He must put an effort and be away from that. He can think that, oh, it is my own reflection and reaction, resound that is working through. So that is a different thing. And the first paragraph saying the Lord Ishvara is activating Prakriti and acting through Prakriti means the power behind the whole functioning of the universe. But this is, after all, a dualistic view, and we have to wait and see what ends up in the next chapter. Thank you, Sairam. That's what I could say. Thanks, Sairam.
Thank you very much, brother. So, Auntie Sakhu, what Swami is showing us is where the dualist philosophy sort of breaks down because it cannot convincingly answer how someone can be a witness and at the same time the doer. Okay, so Swami is trying to point that out. But the dualists are happy with their explanation.
No, but it says here, God is the witness. He does not punish, nor does he cause grief.
Yes.
So it is said that God is the witness. So I don't know whether the translation is.
No, the translation is accurate, Auntie.
Then
So Swami is yes, Sairam Sanjay, please go ahead.
I think in one of the lines there, the answer might lay in one of the lines. This is the experience of everyone, the characteristic of everyone's mind. I feel like the answer may exist there because Swami gives an example of a movie on a movie screen. See, the movie cannot play without the existence of a screen. Right? So in that sense, it is the very basis for the movie playing on. Now, the movie itself could be a comedy, a tragedy, action, drama, which is what we all might either enjoy or cry over. And that happens in the context of us having a separate mind and considering ourselves separate. And then Swami also goes on to say that when we feel separate and take ownership of the action, then you get the consequence of the action also as a reward. And that is again dependent on the characteristic of everyone's mind. Some may feel something as a tragedy, some may not feel something as a tragedy. So that is dependent on the characteristic of that person's mind. That's what I understood.
Thank you very much, Sanjay. So I hope it answers to a great extent, what we are discussing. As Sanjay pointed out, Swami says the mind is the one which experiences. The GV does not experience.
Yeah.
Because the actions themselves were committed by the mind.
Yeah.
Good or bad. And the mind experiences, and that is their duty. Jivatma, he is electricity, as Brother Shivadas said. It is electricity which energizes, powers this world. But it's neither doing something specific nor it's experiencing. The indriyas and the mind are the ones who perform, and they are the ones who experience, because it's their duty to experience that. The kartavyam, Swami has said. So its electricity does not feel the air condition, nor it feels the heat. It is only enabling, it's an enabler, and everything is under its control. But it's others who experience whether it's coolness or heat or whatever it is. It's all experienced by the mind and the senses. So I hope
Thank you.
electricity has a role in controlling and managing everything, but it does not, neither does the job nor does it experience.
Thank you.
Okay, Saira.
Saira.
Thank you. Thanks.
But so why is Swami saying that? So the Jivudu, that one, that line, he's saying he is Anadi. So he's eternally present. He's unborn. He doesn't have birth, but he's eternally undertaking action. So is it the Jiva doing the action?
So Swami's, okay, very good. Swami is saying, Jivudu Anadi Siddhudu. I would say Anadi Siddhudu, did it translate as undertakes action?
No, so the undertakes action is a couple sentences below that.
Below that? Okay, wait. See, Ajudu Anaga Puttuka Lenivadu, Kalamantayu Athodu Sarva with the Karmanu Lonarchuchunadu. Okay, that's he is the one who is performing all the actions. That's what you're asking, no?
Yes.
Yeah, so he is undertaking all activities. Jiva.
Yes.
Okay, Jiva is undertaking activity. Karma Palamu Nantayu Anubhavinchuta Manasi Yoka Anubhuti. Just after that. Karma Phalamu experiencing is only the job of the mind. Okay. So you're asking, so Jiva is performing the action. That's, I think, which is what again Sakwanti also mentioned. Jiva is performing. The reason the word Jiva is performing but not, then Swami is saying that, and then he is saying, Jivanaku rendintinoonu sambantamu leka sakshi budarai unduno. That's at the last sentence. I think this is what Chakwanti also has asked. So again, there seem to be, Swami has said the Jiva undertakes all the actions. And then the last one says he is not related to any of these two, which is Manchi and Cheddar. Good and bad he is not related to. But he says he undertakes action, and then he says this. So I think your question is still, is he a witness or is he performs action? I think that's Kalyana's question. Yes, Sister Aruna.
Sairam, brother. I was waiting for a answer for this. I don't know. I wanted to understand from Sakwanti's question there. So in these words, he says he is activating Prakriti, acting through Prakriti. I'm trying to understand that. So he is activating. I know the mind, as Brother Sanjay mentioned, our mind, in 3 hours, whatever we are experiencing, that's what we are seeing as things. But that's Maya kind of. But why the Lord is activating? It's like He is activating and prompting. That part, that is right.
Okay. That's right. I mean, that's what Swami has stated, sister. Okay. Sai Satish, I think, had the hand up first. Sai Satish, I will let you.
Sairam, I'm just going back to what Brother Sanjay said. And again, the same thing, two concepts, right? You have Adhara and you have Adheya. So whether you take the screen on which the movie is played, or you take a ocean from which the wave rises, you need the ocean for the waves to rise. You need the screen for the movie to play. So in one sense, the Adhara, the basis, remains.
Oh, I'm sorry, basement. Basement.
So in one sense, the Adhara has to be there for any of the Adheya or any of the actions which pertains to the mind or the senses ultimately comes to play. So from that point of view, being the basis, being the witness, or being that place from which awareness is present, but at the same time we have emergence of action or whatever, and then it emerges and then dissolves back again. So that way you need a basis from which all of this happens, and that basis continues to remain Jivatma. But ultimately, if you extend it like what Brother Dasan was saying, the two birds thing, or just the reflection of the Jivatma, ultimately it's like a cascade, right? It's so much the Jivatman being a reflection of the Paramatman, the reflection of the Jivatma again falling on the mind, and then that in turn activating the senses. So I think it's a cascade that is there, but essentially, since you need the basis or a platform on which everything has to happen, so they are, that basis being provided, they are involved, but they are involved only at a level where all of this happens superficially, but the ocean stays as the ocean. But I'll stop there, Sairam.
Okay, thank you very much, Sai Satish. Yes, Brother Dasan.
So, Sairam, brother, if we take the human beings, the body was maybe created by the parents, and the Jivatma is the Lord. So, if we take a physician, take the knife and cutting that body is for good. Take another person, killing the person with a knife, it's a different cause. So, ultimately, that the consequence, whatever you are doing, is nothing to do with Jivatma. Thank you, Brother Sairam.
Thank you very much, brother. So anyone would like to respond, or yes, Sister Aruna?
Sairam, brother. I just got a little bit of clear understanding on that. It's a base, so it's prompting, but we have to take it on a right perspective to do right things and experience the good. So if we do it in a wrong way, that we have to experience the evil of that kind of. I got that the base is the Lord is prompting everything, but we have to do it in the right way.
Thank you very much, brother.
Thank you, Saira.
Anyone else? Yes.
Sairam, brother. But the first person, the Pradeep or Pradisa, we have to underline that Baba in many multiple times saying that only mind is doing work and enjoying the good and bad. It's nothing to do with Jiva or God or Atman or whatever it is. So always that the permanent entity is away from this activity. Only mind and the below that are doing this work and enjoying the fruits. And also we have to note it down. Bhava is speaking about the dualistic philosophy here. So there are three entities which are accepted: Iswara, Jiva, and world. What is Prakriti or what is it? So believing the three entities as it is, Bhava is putting down what the dualistic philosophy speak about. So dualistic philosophy says that it is God who is behind all activity, and the Jiva can, if we want, be away from this bad and good. That's what I was saying here. Grief and joy is the image of the activity one engages in. It is a resound, reflection, reaction. The jivi can be, and they put it in the italic, the can. So if the jivi tries, and he can be away from that, as this Aruna mentioned, can be the witness without concerning himself with the good and bad of the activity. So with this, I will stop. I just wanted to share this one.
Okay, thank you very much, brother. Thank you. So I don't know whether whoever asked their answers, they got the answer. I think the challenge we have is the Swami's statement as Kalamantayu Athadu Sarvavida Karmanu Lonarchichunnadu. That's all through the time. He engages in some activity or other. I think that's where he has no birth. He involves himself in incessant activity. So he has to go through the inevitable consequence of that activity. And that's where Kalyani is coming from. And that's what I think Sakku Aunty also asked. See, we all should understand that Swami is trying to explain the dualism philosophy. And Swami is also trying to point out there is some issue with the philosophy. It does not completely answer satisfactorily this aspect of witness, doership, and things like that. I think Swami wants us to understand that. So I think I will leave it at that. If you all still have the question, hopefully it gets resolved as Brother Sivada said, the rest of this chapter and the next chapter. Swami is explaining to us what the dualistic philosophy is. He's going to go to non-dualistic philosophy at the end. So the dualistic philosophy has this as a challenge in trying to convincingly address to our satisfaction. Because he's a doer. Is he a doer? Who is the doer? See, we are also told, don't take up doership. It's God who is the doer. If you take doership, then you have to have experience also. Then if that is so, is the Paramatman the doer? So is he the one who has to experience? Then why is the mind experiencing? These are some of the questions which pop up in our people's mind. And I think Swami is just leaving it as is for us to dwell on and try to understand. But I think Swami will guide us through some, I think we can come back to this question again. If still there are questions in some people's mind, leave it like that. Hold on to that question and see whether Swami answers them as we read on. Okay, so I will just say that it's 4:20. Is there any question, other than this question, is there any other question which we want to discuss here?
Yes, Uncle, just for the part where it's the mano indriya mula kartavyamu. So that means the mind and indriyas should, like kartavyam means they should do that, right? They should something that which ought to be done. So they should be experiencing the good and bad and everything.
So, okay, Kalyani is asking, When it's kartavyam, the word kartavya is used. Swami saying, chedda chesana cheddana anubhavinchuta manu indriyavala kartavyam. So it's the duty of the mind and the senses to experience good for the things which are done, good things which are done, and bad experience for the bad things which are done. That is their duty. And Swami has previously said that that's Prakriti Yoga Vishwasasana. That's a universal law of the nature. And that is the reflection of the action itself. Karma Yoga, Pratibimbamu, Pratishabdamu. It's a reflection and resound of action itself. So Kalyan is asking, should they experience, is it their responsibility or their duty to experience? What do other, yes, Kalyani, you want
It's
to?
because I guess like sometimes we think that, oh, like we should be unaffected, meaning like our mind should not be affected by good and bad. But is that what it means to be equanimous? And
Okay. Should our mind be unaffected? I think that's Kalyana's question. Who should be unaffected? Should the mind be unaffected or should it experience? If the mind is going to experience, how will it remain unaffected? I think those are the questions. So I will pose it to whoever is here. What do you all think?
Brother, so in the waking state and the dream state, our mind is working. So we undergo both grief and joy or what else. But in deep sleep stage, mind is not functioning. So we don't experience any joy or grief. So from that we can infer that both grief and joy is enjoyed by the mind. Who is some people who are good in meditation. So when they go in meditation, samadhi. They don't enjoy the grief and joy there. They are above that because the mind is not working there. So there are example. The mind is the cause for the grief and joy.
So brother, just if you can elaborate on this, so Swami says it's the responsibility of the mind to experience it. So in a state of samadhi, is the mind experiencing it or not is the question from Kalyani. Kalyani, am I right? If a person in a state of samadhi is in a awake, in a jagrata state, in the waking state, the person is in a state of samadhi. When the person is in a state of samadhi, is the mind and the indriyas experiencing the fruits of the action? I think that's the question. Kalyani, am I right? Yeah. So what will there be experience? Will the mind experience or will the mind not experience is the question. In a state of samadhi.
I'm not speaking about samadhi because I don't experience it, but nirvikal samadhi is beyond mind, they say, I don't know. But the katavyam, the word is used, as a duty, dharma, no? So the mind, the dharma of elements, certain things have to do. The water has to flow down, the fire has to go up. This is the duty, dharma of that element. So this also element, mind also element. So mind's work has to be the duty. It enjoys good and bad. That's what I can understand. I didn't get it clearly what the question is. So I will stop with that one.
No, thank you, brother. I think you sort of answered the question to some extent. Yes, brother Sai Satish, go ahead.
Hi, Ramana. So when we are looking at the state of samadhi or amanaska, those kind of thing, basically at the experiential level, so long as the mind exists, the world exists, and so long as the world exists, the dualities exist, the opposites exist, everything, the mind will experience all of it, but the one beyond the mind will just see it as a seamless flow of eternal causation, right? So it will the mind, whether we take the story of Janaka Adi Nijama, Idi Nijama, or we take the thing of what Swami said, Noppi Undi Kani Badaledu. There is pain, but there is no suffering. So at the level of the mind, it is perceiving pain, it's perceiving all that is happening at the level of the mind. But the witness consciousness is so strong that it is able to clearly see all of that happen as an external framework, and by itself, whether we call it Jivatma or the Jivatma has now become so radiant that the spark is nothing but the divine, it is unaffected by what is happening on the external. So all of that thing happens, but the witness is clearly seeing through um, it as a dance of the creator. That's where the mind still is, all of that is happening, the dualities exist, but the inner being is in a non-dualistic framework. Saira.
Thank you very much, Sai Satish. Yes, Auntie Sakku.
Yes, I have answers for the both. First, Kalyani's question. When you are in a samadhi state or jivan mukta state, you will you know you will know the results, but the body or the mind will not, it will be detached. It won't feel the pain, like how Sai Sadi said, Baba said, the pain, my body doesn't have any pain. So it is, when you come to the samadhi state, even though the pain is there will be just a witness. The body will not, the mind will not feel it. That is for Kalyani's question. The other question that I asked you about the activating and acting power of God through Prakriti, that as in a creation level, God is doing, is activating and acting through Prakriti, but he doesn't get involved with the creation's results because he is only a witness. He is only a witness. Everything happens through his will, but still he is just a witness. He doesn't get involved. Thank you. These are the answers for the two questions.
Thank you very much, Kwanti. Yes, Sister Aruna.
Sairam, brother. In the Samadhi stage, everyone perform action, but at that stage, they don't give any importance for the fruit of the action. So it won't affect them. It's a good or bad. They do with a good intention, everything, but nothing will affect. That's how the mind works. Then. Thank you. Sorry.
Thank you, Sister Aruna. Anyone else would like to share any thoughts, please? So I'll just try to summarize, I guess, from whatever everyone has said. I think different shades of experiences, so explanations. So Swami has said, the mind and its indriyas, it's their duty to experience the results of the actions. So Kalyani's question is one who has reached a certain, who has identified the jiva, who has detached themselves. When a person has detached, will the mind feel the pain or the body feel the pain? Body feel, because that's the result if something has happened. My understanding is they will feel it. That's why Saistya said, Swami, when Swami was asked, do you have, Swami, is it pains too much? So Swami says, there is pain, but there's no suffering. So in the Bhagavad Gita, second chapter, there's a set of description for who is called a Sthita Prajna. In that, Krishna says, Sukha Dukhe Sami Kritva Labha Lavo Jaya Jaya. There are dualities in this world, but the Sthita Prajna will remain unaffected. He'll be having what's called Samadhi. He is not affected. But the mind and the body have to go through. I think the analogy would be, if you are an expert rider of a bicycle, where your balance is perfect, if you're riding in a road or path which is not very smooth, the bicycle will shake. Normal person who doesn't have the balance will fall down. But Sthita Prajna is someone who has perfect balance in whatever the situation is, whether it's physical or mental. That person will have a balance to go through. The mind will feel it, the body also will feel it, they will experience, but the GV will look on as a witness and will not be attached to that experience, or will he take ownership for that experience, is my understanding. So the mind will go through what it has to. The body also will go through whatever it has to. But the Jiva, even Mukta, will be unaffected by both, because he will think, oh, it's natural for it to feel, experience. And he will be separate from the mind or the body, is my understanding. I hope collectively, some response answers your question. I will ask Sister Aruna, she has her hands up to share anything.
Sairam, brother. I didn't raise my hand. I think I didn't put it down. Thank you, Sairam.
Sairam, sister. See, sister was detached with the raised hand. Did the computer raise it or the hand raised it? She did not identify with it. So with those thoughts, we will close for today's. We can contemplate on this. And I think there is actually, as Brother Sveda said, this rest of the chapter and next chapter, Swami is going to analyzing and explaining to us in many different ways. So we come to some level of understanding by the end of that study, and we'll be able to practically use it in our life. How to face challenges in life. Will we, do we have to face it till our mind face it, our body face it? How do we react in such situations? So do we react or not? I think these are questions which we can contemplate on and inquire. And hopefully Swami will guide us through this journey of studying about these three concepts. So I will stop here. It will close with Samastaloka prayer. And we will meet next week again. Sairam, thanks for coming. Om Samastaloka Sukhino Bhavantu. Samastaloka Sukhino Bhavantu. Samastaloka Sukhino Bhavantu. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Sairam, everyone.
Sairam.